Mo, it's different now than when you and I.
It's different, baby. I'm grateful I'm not 56 and trying.
You tried to say what you tried to say. Mo,
I'm looking right at you.
I know you looking at me.
I ain't backing down. Let me tell you what my baby need. He need him an old fat gal who can bake good cakes, make some smothered turkey wings. Like, that's what Shannon need. You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You're trying to hang out with these young bitches, and you can't do it, Shannon. You just can't do it.
If you thought Club Shay Shay was just your average interview, think again, because Monique came with some serious wisdom about Shannon dating young women, and she wasn't sugarcoating a single thing. Grab a seat, grab a snack, because this is one conversation you need to hear about. Let's get into it. On a recent episode of Club Shay Shay, Shannon Sharpe sat across from Monique, the queen of keeping it real. Especially when the topic turns to love and dating, the conversation started off normal, but it didn't take long for Monique to shift gears. She gave Shannon some advice that had everyone listening. She told him straight up how times have changed and that relationships between older men and much younger women aren't what they used to be. And Monique made it very clear, what used to be a cute situation can now turn into a full-blown disaster if you're not careful. Her message was simple but powerful. Find someone who's walking the same path as you. Someone who can genuinely love you for you, not just the lifestyle you can provide. And she was speaking to not just Shannon, but also all other men trying to live that young player lifestyle. She even joked about it, saying it's time for Shannon to find a woman who knows her way around a kitchen and who's not just playing games. But underneath the laughter, Monique was giving him a serious warning, because chasing after youth might look fun on Instagram, but in real life, it can leave you broke, heartbroken, and wondering what the heck happened. And honestly, it's a lesson a lot of people can relate to, not just celebrities. Monique's warning wasn't about judging anyone. It was about protecting Shannon. At the end of the day, Monique's advice was about something even bigger than dating. It was about self-respect, about valuing yourself enough to love wisely. And the best part? She said it all with love, with laughter, and with the kind of honesty only Monique can deliver. And at the end of the day, she was 100% correct. We are about to dive deep into a shocking new scandal that's putting his reputation and his future in serious jeopardy. Warning, this one gets heavy. Shannon Sharpe has built an image of charisma, strength, and success. But right now, that polished image is being ripped apart by some explosive allegations. Allegations so serious they could change everything for him. Let's take a closer look at how Shannon Sharpe landed in the middle of a $50 million legal nightmare.
This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine.
Recently, a woman named Gabriella Zuniga, a young OnlyFans model, filed a massive lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe. Gabriella isn't just making vague claims either. The lawsuit lays out specific and very serious accusations. The allegations include emotional manipulation, threats of violence, and even coercive sexual behavior. If true, these are career-ending, life-altering accusations. According to the court documents, Gabriella paints a very dark picture of Shannon Sharpe's private life. She claims that behind the cameras was a man who used his power and influence in deeply troubling ways. Emotional manipulation was just the beginning, according to her. The lawsuit even describes instances where Shannon allegedly recorded intimate moments without her consent, threatened violence, and coerced her into situations she didn't want to be part of. And listen, whether these allegations prove true or not, just the existence of a lawsuit like this can cause irreparable damage to a public figure's career and reputation. If Shannon Sharpe loses in court, or even if some damaging evidence comes out, his brand deals, his TV opportunities, and even his status as a respected media personality could all disappear overnight. When it comes to celebrity scandals, the how it all started part of the story is often the most chilling. Before the $50 million lawsuit, it all started at a simple, everyday place, the gym. But according to Gabriella's version of events, their first meeting wasn't just casual, it was intense and overwhelming. Gabriella claims she first met Shannon Sharpe in 2023 at a gym in Los Angeles. She was young, just 19 or 20 years old at the time, and in her words, Shannon immediately stood out. But here's where things start to get complicated. According to Gabriella, Shannon didn't just casually introduce himself and leave it at that. She says he pursued her aggressively, approaching her multiple times at the gym, texting her, calling her, and persistently asking to meet up. At first, Gabriella claims she tried to maintain her distance and resist his advances, but according to her lawsuit, Shannon wasn't planning to stop anytime soon. Message after message, approach after approach. And over time, Gabriella says she was worn down. Eventually, she agreed to spend time with him outside the gym. And according to Gabriella, that opened the door to everything that followed. And just when you thought the story between Shannon Sharpe and Gabriella Zuniga couldn't get any messier, it does. Because before their relationship even really began, there were already major red flags. Red flags that Gabriella says she ignored, and ones that could have changed everything if she hadn't. It turns out, long before the lawsuits, Shannon Sharpe allegedly asked Gabriella to do something that made her extremely uncomfortable. And it set the tone for everything that happened afterwards. According to Gabriella, even before they ever spent personal time together, Shannon insisted, almost immediately, that she sign a non-disclosure agreement, or NDA. Now, NDAs aren't unheard of in celebrity culture. A lot of public figures use them to protect their privacy. But Gabriella says it wasn't just the request itself that threw her off. It was how aggressively Shannon allegedly pushed for it. She found it suspicious, concerning, and deeply unsettling. In her account, Shannon didn't just casually mention the idea of confidentiality. He was forceful, pushing her over and over again to sign her name on that dotted line. Gabriella claims she stood her ground. She repeatedly refused to sign anything, despite the pressure. But doing so wasn't without consequences. She says the tension between them started building almost immediately. And according to Gabriella, things only got worse from there. Gabriella alleges that once the relationship truly began, it quickly evolved into something toxic and controlling. Instead of feeling valued, she says she felt managed. It's a chilling progression, and it started with that first red flag, the NDA, a document that, for Gabriella, wasn't about mutual trust, it was about power and control. According to Gabriella, Shannon wasn't interested in building trust. He wanted control from day one. Trigger warning. The next part of this story is extremely disturbing. We're about to break down the shocking abuse and coercion allegations Gabriella Zuniga has leveled against Shannon Sharpe. Gabriella's lawsuit lays out a series of disturbing allegations, each one worse than the last. These are accusations that suggest emotional, physical, and sexual abuse, and if any of them are proven true, Shannon Sharpe could face not just career destruction, but potential criminal investigation. First, Gabriella alleges that during arguments, Shannon didn't just raise his voice, he threatened to choke her and put his hands on her. But it gets even more terrifying. Gabriella claims that during a heated confrontation, Shannon brandished a visible firearm, sending a clear and horrifying message about who held the power in the relationship. Next, Gabriella accuses Shannon of secretly recording their intimate encounters, without her consent. But it doesn't stop there. She says he shared those private recordings with his friends. This accusation alone is devastating. Gabriella also claims Shannon forced her into having unprotected sex, even after she explicitly asked him to use protection. And perhaps one of the most shocking claims of all, Gabriella alleges that Shannon forced her into sexual activity during a FaceTime call with one of his childhood friends. Not only was she allegedly coerced into a situation she didn't want to be part of, she says she was used for entertainment in front of someone else, compounding the humiliation and trauma. Each of these accusations, standing alone, would be horrifying. But taken together, they paint a picture of systematic control, coercion, and abuse. If you thought things couldn't get any worse, buckle up, because a single Instagram Live incident didn't just humiliate Gabriella publicly. It may have been the final breaking point that shattered everything they had left. It only took one moment, one accidental broadcast, for the private world Shannon and Gabriella shared to be thrown into the public eye. And according to Gabriella, it was nothing short of betrayal. Some say it was an accident, others believe it was staged. Either way, it changed everything. According to reports, the situation exploded when Shannon Sharpe's phone accidentally went live on Instagram, during what should have been a private, intimate moment between him and Gabriella. In a matter of seconds, private became public, and the internet wasted no time. Memes, rumors, they spread like wildfire. But here's where things get even messier. Rumors started circling that the accidental Instagram Live wasn't an accident at all. Some sources claimed Shannon staged the whole thing, not to show off Gabriella, but to combat rumors that had been following him for years. Specifically, the speculation that Shannon Sharpe might secretly be involved with men, something he has never publicly addressed directly. According to the chatter, the live was meant to prove he was with a young, attractive woman, to silence the gossip once and for all. And according to Gabriella, that Instagram Live incident wasn't just embarrassing, it was the final breaking point. All the previous red flags all boiled over in that one humiliating moment. After that night, there was no repairing the relationship. Whatever was left between them collapsed under the weight of public exposure and private betrayal. So, when we look back at everything that led to Gabriella filing a $50 million lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe, the Instagram Live incident stands out. You'd think after public humiliation and betrayal, the story would finally come to an end. But Gabriella Zuniga alleged that trying to walk away from Shannon Sharpe only opened up a whole new nightmare. Let's talk about what she said happened when she tried to leave. After everything, Gabriella says she finally decided to cut ties with Shannon Sharpe. But according to her, leaving wasn't that simple. In fact, it turned out to be the most dangerous part of all. She stopped answering Shannon's calls. She ignored his messages. She tried to create distance, to reclaim her life. Instead of accepting the breakup, Gabriella alleges that Shannon's behavior escalated dramatically. She claims Shannon started confronting her in person, showing up at the gym where they first met. And it didn't stop at a few awkward conversations. According to Gabriella, Shannon physically forced her into his car during one of these confrontations. Gabriella says once she was in the car, Shannon didn't just plead or beg, he threatened her. He allegedly made it clear that walking away from him wouldn't be easy, that saying no wasn't an option. According to Gabriella, Shannon's refusal to accept boundaries had been there from the beginning. From the persistent gym encounters, to the pressured NDA, to the emotional manipulation, the seeds of control had been planted early. But now, with Gabriella trying to reclaim her freedom, Shannon's alleged behavior revealed just how deep that need for control truly went. Up until now, we've heard Gabriella's side of the story, but Shannon Sharpe isn't staying silent. He's come out swinging, calling the entire lawsuit a setup, aimed at his fame and fortune. Pretty much everything Monique suggested in Club Shay Shay about young women. Allegations this serious can destroy a career overnight. But Shannon Sharpe isn't playing defense quietly. He's going on the attack, trying to flip the narrative before it's too late. Here's what he's saying and why his response is making just as many headlines as the accusations themselves. In a video released shortly after the lawsuit news broke, Shannon Sharpe didn't hold back. He called the entire situation a shakedown, blaming celebrity attorney Tony Busby for orchestrating what he says is nothing more than a cash grab. According to Shannon, this isn't about justice. It's about a payday. And here's where it gets interesting. Tony Busby isn't just any lawyer. He's a high-profile attorney with a reputation for taking on major cases involving Black celebrities. Jay-Z, Deshaun Watson. Now, Shannon Sharpe. Shannon pointed to Busby's history, suggesting that this is part of a pattern, targeting rich, famous Black men with explosive accusations, hoping for a quick settlement. Shannon and his legal team have denied every accusation made by Gabriella. According to Shannon, the story Gabriella is telling is completely false, and he's preparing to fight it not just in the court of public opinion, but in the legal system as well. But Shannon didn't stop there. He claims that Gabriella's legal team is manipulating public perception, using edited and misleading video clips to make him look guilty in the court of public opinion. Shannon says the evidence is taken out of context, twisted to fit a narrative, and designed to make headlines, not tell the full truth. And here's the bigger picture. This is now a battle of narratives. On one side, Gabriella paints a story of manipulation, fear, and abuse. On the other side, Shannon claims he's being exploited, targeted because of his success, his money, and his public profile. And for fans, for the media, and for the public, it creates a complicated, uncomfortable question. Who do you believe? And just when you thought this lawsuit couldn't get any messier, Shannon Sharpe's team claimed they have major evidence proving that Gabriella was not only a willing participant, but an enthusiastic one. Shannon Sharpe is dropping what he says is undeniable proof that their relationship was completely consensual. And the biggest piece of evidence? Explicit text messages. Shannon's camp says they have messages from Gabriella, where she didn't just flirt casually. She expressed enthusiastic desires and fantasies toward Shannon. Some of the messages are reportedly shocking, including texts where Gabriella begged Shannon for unprotected sex, despite the obvious risks. Even more jaw-dropping? Messages where she allegedly talked about wanting to have Shannon's baby. Shannon's team argues that if Gabriella was actively pursuing unprotected sex and talking about building a future together, the entire narrative of fear, manipulation, and assault starts to fall apart. They're positioning these texts as proof that Gabriella's lawsuit isn't about truth. It's about revenge and money. But Shannon's defense doesn't stop there. They're also accusing Gabriella and her attorney Tony Busby of withholding key evidence. Shannon's camp claims Gabriella's team has full video footage that would allegedly clear Shannon's name completely. But instead of turning it over, they've been selectively leaking short, edited clips designed to make Shannon look guilty. In other words, they're accusing Gabriella's camp of manipulating the narrative for public sympathy and for maximum damage. In celebrity scandals like this, it's not just about what evidence exists, it's about who controls the story. One side drops shocking text messages, the other side leaks video clips, and somewhere in the middle, the truth gets harder and harder to find. At this point, you might think Shannon Sharpe and Gabriella Zuniga's situation couldn't get any uglier. But behind the scenes, even more drama was unfolding. Millions of dollars were reportedly on the table. A chance to settle everything quietly, gone. Now, instead of a private deal, Shannon and Gabriella are locked in a public war, and the fallout could change Shannon Sharpe's life forever. Sources claim that before this case ever hit the media, Shannon Sharpe offered Gabriella a settlement. Not just pocket change either, we're talking over $10 million. That offer could have ended everything. No court battles, no headlines, no public humiliation. But Gabriella reportedly turned it down. Instead of taking the $10 million, Gabriella allegedly decided to go public, betting that a full-blown lawsuit would lead to an even bigger payout. But if Shannon's defense holds up, if he proves the relationship was consensual and the accusations are false, Gabriella could walk away with nothing, or even face countersuits. And now, Shannon's in a fight for more than just money. He's fighting for his entire legacy. If he loses in court, or even loses in the court of public opinion, it could cost him brand deals, TV contracts, endorsements, future opportunities, everything he's worked decades to build. The stakes could not be higher. And it's a harsh reminder for anyone watching, in the celebrity world, it's not enough to be successful. One scandal, one lawsuit, one bad headline, and it can all come crashing down. Once your image is damaged, sometimes it's impossible to repair. Looking back at everything that's happened, there's one moment that feels almost prophetic. Sometimes, the truth comes wrapped in laughter, in jokes, in playful advice. Monique's warning to Shannon Sharpe wasn't just comedy, it was a prophecy. And now, looking at everything that's unfolded, it's clear. She saw it coming before anyone else did. She warned him, lighthearted but serious, that chasing after young women could end badly. She told him to find someone real, someone mature, someone who loved him for who he was, not what he had. And as we sit here today, watching the fallout from Gabriella's lawsuit, it's impossible not to see just how right Monique was. She is literally a fortune teller. After everything we've unpacked, the warnings, the scandals, the lawsuits, there's really only one thing left to say. At the end of the day, no matter what happens, one truth stands tall. Shannon Sharpe is too old and too accomplished to still be caught up in drama like this. Shannon is 56 years old. I mean, come on. He should just find a true partner and settle down like Monique said. And yet, here he is, entangled with an OnlyFans model, fighting allegations and facing a lawsuit that could define the rest of his public life. This isn't the legacy he spent decades building. If Shannon survives this without total career destruction, it needs to be a serious wake-up call. And it's not like this is just a Shannon Sharpe issue. It's a bigger life lesson for anyone chasing validation in all the wrong places. At some point, you have to stop living like you're 25 and start protecting what you've built. Otherwise, one day you wake up and realize you lost it all. And for Shannon's sake, we can only hope this is the moment he finally gets it. But what do you think? Is it time for Shannon to finally settle down? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. And make sure to subscribe for more real, honest commentary on celebrity culture and updates. And turn on that bell so you never miss a breakdown.